Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Gorecom, in which we take the time to speak with CEOs right after they put out important news. With us today, with really big news, David Lukacs, CEO of KABN North America. That's KABN, and it trades on the CSE under the stock symbol KABN. A lot of you are going to be new to the story because it just listed in the summer and still getting going. For those of you who don't know what the company is and need a bit of an explanation, Facebook showed us that sharing our data became a major issue, a real problem. And that spurred on some major legal changes to protect our data, specifically the GDPR in Europe and CCPA legislation out of California. More is coming. So what KABN does generally is they turn the problem of data privacy into a profit for individuals like you and me, while also providing big enterprises with a new compliant business model where they're not contravening these rules, yet still being able to market to us. On just this morning, here's the big news: KABN North America and Boon Rewards set to launch cashback and rewards programs spanning 11.5 million Canadian customers of major finance institutions, insurance providers, and real estate service. David, that's a biggie. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, George. Great to be back.
Hey, so I mean, the headline seems really big. You're talking about a rewards program to 11.5 million Canadian customers. That's really big as it is. And you're talking about major finance institutions, so on and so forth. How big is this for the company? Is this taking us over a hump?
Well, I think, George, it's a really important milestone for the company. I mean, for those that are familiar with us, know that we have Liquid Avatar, our KABN ID, our KABN Cash program. But about 9 months ago, we started talking to Boon about creating private label solutions for them using our cashback engine. So for us, it's sort of a new sort of passive revenue opportunity for us because we're going to be powering other systems, and Boon is just our first customer in the spectrum. There's others that we're talking to who want to add cashback rewards for their customers. It's a loyalty and incentive program. I mean, we could add it to Gorecom.
Now, let me ask you a question though, because somebody at home might be thinking who's new to the story, saying, "Well, cashback and rewards, a lot of people do that. Mm-hmm. What's so special about this cashback rewards, and why does Boon need KABN where it appears you would think they could have done it with other big providers over the last several years?"
Well, I think KABN has a very customizable program. We've started from the perspective that, again, it's all data driven from the consumer side. I mean, we're sort of a plug and play model. It was very easy for Boon to engage with us and get the product to work. And they're already doing things that are sticky in that space with card link programs, getting money back when you spend money at a merchant through Visa and MasterCard. So this was an easy add-on because it adds basically vertical opportunities for Boon, and it adds more loyalty and engagement programs so that they can generate more revenue.
All right. So in order for us to fully understand this, let's walk this through a little bit.
Sure.
Who's Boon? What do they do?
Mm-hmm.
And then how are you monetizing along with them on this? How are you reaching those 11.5 million people?
Well, super. I can start there. Boon is a private company, so I won't talk too much about them. They've got their own profile the press release, they can visit the website. But Boon, as we understand it, focuses primarily in card link programs. And card link programs are, you go to use a card at a merchant and you get some kind of reward. It could be not necessarily for Boon, but a good example would be you get a couple pennies off your gas per liter at a gas station, or you get a reward when you buy coffee. So that's direct on your card program. The next natural evolution is being able to shop online and getting some type of incentive. And we were in the right place at the right time, building the right products. And for us, it wasn't a diversion because we had built the entire platform, and we knew that there would be a private label opportunity. So for Boon, it's a very cost-effective way to add additional services for their customers, and for their customers, it's a way to get more rewards. So it's symbiotic, or a win-win for everybody in the ecosystem. And for KABN, it opens up new revenue opportunities that help fuel and fund our core programs.
So if George is already a Boon card link customer,
Mhm.
Presumably what's going to happen now is George is going to get communication from Boone, and they're going to say, hey, George, you've been getting these cash back and rewards programs when you physically shop.
Mhm.
Now you'll be able to do that when you shop online using that same card. Is that essentially, in a basic form for people
Yeah,
to
it
kind of
is.
understand it?
Except Boone provides services to organizations, and if someone goes to the Boone website, they can see the major brands that Boone works with. So you might have a product, and Boone provides the underpinning services. So this will just be another of their underpinning services. So it won't be branded Boone; it would be branded the eventual real estate firm or major financial institution
Right.
loyalty program.
So they're the backbone to Bank A. I haven't seen their site, so I don't want to name a bank.
Right.
But they're the backbone to Big Canadian Bank A. And so Big Canadian Bank A is going to contact me and say, hey, you've been using this Bank A card everywhere and getting cash back. Start using that online. I'm going to give you even more cash back and rewards.
Exactly. So
Simple. Wow. Simple but powerful.
very simple and powerful. It leverages. We're sort of the provider of the technology and all the relationships. I mean, I think we've got just under, including Canada, US right now, just under 250 major merchants. And when I say major merchants, someone can go to KABNcash.com and see the merchants. I mean, they include Adidas, Nike, Walmart, Fanatics. I mean, just major,
Yeah.
DoorDash. I
Great
mean,
core mass stuff.
yeah, and our programs will continue to grow and continue to expand, and we're looking at expansion in other areas as well. That'll give not only cash back, but down the road we can add, and I'm not saying we will, but we can add, special deals on merchandise. So it might be we have X amount of uh,
Right.
uh,
Right.
you know iPod buds available, or iBuds available, that at a very discounted price because one of our partners has that available. So there's a lot of opportunity to create cashback, and it's a very pervasive argument and persuasive argument for the millennial crowds and Gen Zs or Gen Zs.
They love these
They
rewards.
love this kind of stuff. I mean, they'll shop online and do this if there's value for them.
So this isn't just an idea, a partnership. Let's see how it goes. We'll throw it on the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
Because the quote here is as follows from the press release. Boone and KABN Cash have been working on this project for several months
Yep.
and are pleased to report that it's already started integration and testing programs are set to begin pilot rollout during this quarter. So we're in October. That means before the end of the year, pilots are going to start rolling out. So do you expect to start, those pilots go out to, so a pilot goes to Bank A, pilot rollout pilot. So the pilot goes to Bank A.
Right.
How long do you expect Bank A to, go through the pilot test and then eventually say, yeah, we want this, let's go?
Well, I mean that's between Boone and their client. We're ready to go today. I mean, actively, the KABN Cash platform is ready to go today. So we have no lag. And again, as I said, this is just our first integration. We're looking at some very unique integrations with other partners as well. Boone was our first client as we were building KABN Cash. We were simultaneously building the private label or white label program. That's now active and ready. It's not a it's not a sort of a beta. It's ready to go. We can plug and play and customize for a firm very quickly. So Boone might have multiple installations because each one will be private labeled. So for us, we're just ready to go. Our mandate at KABN was very simple. Get our products ready in Q3 and be ready for revenue in Q4. And we've met that mandate. And even though the macro environment's been a bit crazy, the micro cap markets have been crazy, we have been focused on delivering against our mandate. It's very important for us to do so because ultimately, Liquid Avatar and our other products have significant opportunities for traction.
One downfall to companies like KABN that want to reach millions of people and create tens or hundreds of thousands of customers is it becomes super expensive to market. And use the downfall is you're raising money. You're spending $100 to acquire George as a customer, and you're hoping that down the road George is going to be worth $200, $300, $400, $500. But you really have a cash flow problem until you can build that up.
Yeah.
what I really love about this relationship with Boone is that it doesn't sound like there are any marketing dollars on your end. That's all going to be taken care of by Boone and their tier one finance, insurance, real estate companies. How big of an advantage is it to have, that kind of a partner where you don't have to worry about, all right, David, kick in $1 million. Let's try and go get 10,000 customers out of it.
Oh, I mean, it's massive, but I mean, we've built other programs like this before. So it is a leveraged program, right? We're always striving for what we call universality. How do we get a universal application in the hands of a consumer? And by private labeling this program, we download the responsibility for marketing and promotion to Boone and its customers, and they already have relationships with their customers. So it's an enhancement, it's a value proposition. So our cost of marketing is effectively zero.
I'm going to ask you a question that you may not know the answer to, but I think it's worth asking, which is conversion. So, eventually this is going to be marketed, not right away, not this quarter. Pilots are going to start rolling out, but, presumably through 2021, there's going to be some real serious, work going on. Do you have any sense for what the conversion might be if they're 11.5 million Canadian customers who are using this the real world? Do you guys have any sense for that, or is that premature?
I think it's a bit premature, but I think we can think about it in real world terms. I don't know about you, but I'm spending less time shopping in conventional stores and shopping online, right? I might be buying a little bit less, but I'm still buying online. I still, I see Amazon packages come to our family, a couple times at least a month. So we're seeing a lot of online purchases, and so at the end of the day, the numbers that are reflected in the marketplace is see averages of a couple $100s a month that people are spending online. So if you can take a small portion of that, multiply that by the number of people, and multiply that by conversion amount, the numbers become massive overnight. Yep. And this is the only program. Remember, we're not only running private label programs, but we're also running the liquid avatar program with KABN Cash. So it becomes sort of a geometric progression. If we had more and more private label programs, we had more and more constituents to the table. It also gives us an opportunity to leverage better deals with our suppliers, right? So we can get more cash back because they have a lower cost to reach a consumer. So if you think about cash back, it's a transference of cost. If everybody can get into an ecosystem and there's less cost to reach the consumer, those marketing dollars can be used as incentives.
Sure.
So it's not a complicated situation.
If I'm a Gorecom and I'm partnering up with KABN to try and bring in people to spend money on my store, if I have a store,
right,
I would much rather say, all right, you've already got, KABN Boone, you've already got 11.5 million. For every person you bring in, sure, I'll give them 1.5% back, cash back, because I'm already getting them as a customer.
Right.
So I'm just paying out a piece of the pie as opposed to taking the risk of me going out and marketing by myself and spending $10 million, not knowing what I'm going to get for that spend.
Right. And the numbers have changed, right? There's been downward pressure on percentages because everybody's shopping online. So the cost of getting a customer, has been less. But, sure. But at the end of the day, it does become a bit of a war. We have Walmart on board and so there's lots of opportunity. People shop at Walmart and Walmart's making a big pitch against Amazon to do things. So it's really finding the right merchants, continuing to find right merchants. And we're also getting a lot of what I would say is unique market merchants that are coming to the table, especially based on some of our gamification of liquid avatars. So we're seeing some unique opportunities come to the table. So and all our partners will benefit from that. So if we get a unique, let's say, memorabilia store coming to the table that has limited inventory, that might have a very small market, but still be very valuable to our users who might be sports fans or, as you can see in my background, comic book fans. So there's lots of unique opportunities here. But what we're saying is it follows our philosophy that a user should benefit from ownership of their data and their identity. And whether it's a private label program or not, we're giving consumers the opportunity to profit from the use or the create additional value propositions every time they shop or every time they do something. And that follows our core philosophy.
Last question for you. What does the rest of the year look like? Because it sounds like you're starting to really ramp up. What does the rest of the year look like? What should the market be looking for coming out of KABN?
Well, while we're getting ready to ramp up our Q4, we've been relatively quiet. We don't expect to be very quiet for anymore. So you're going to see a lot of news. There's some really cool projects on the go. We're seeing a huge movement in the identity layer of the internet. Got to remember, when the internet came about, the idea of identity was not included. So
Of course.
identity is becoming a very, very big part of the online equation, especially with more online sales. There's more identity fraud. And if you can, kind of nip in the bud the $30 billion problem of identity fraud, it's a big issue. So we're actively engaged in sort of the mainstream of what major corporations are doing, and we'll be bringing out some answers for that very shortly.
Yeah, there's no doubt that this is just the beginning, and what you guys are doing is great, and this is great third party validation in my books at the end of the day, because it's one thing for KABN to say, yeah, we got a great program, and but you really don't know at the end of the day, and it's great to see that someone like Boone says, not only is it a great program, but I also have to infer from that it's technically smooth and it all runs perfectly, because that's so important when it comes to everything digital, right?
Right.
So, this is big. Can't wait to see which pilots roll out. Try to say that 5 times during this quarter, but I would encourage everyone to get over to the Boone website and just to see who their merchants are, and then start playing KABN roulette as to which one of these customers is going to be part of the pilots. Congratulations, David, to you, the entire team.
Thank you, George. Really appreciate it.
You've been watching David Lukacs. He's CEO of KABN North America, trades on the CSC under the stock symbol KABN. It's a really new story. So when you do your due diligence, you're really getting in on the ground floor of two things: the ground floor of KABN, clearly, because it's only been a few months public, and the ground floor of this whole idea of owning and profiting from your own personal identity. Guys, that's going to take off this decade, and that's because legislation is demanding it. It's not a case of David's going to try and change people's habits. Legislation is demanding that consumers have better control of their privacy and be able to actually profit from it. And KABN is way ahead of that paradigm shift. So get to Agoracom, get to the KABN hub, read the profile to really get an understanding of this. We know it's a new concept. It really neatly lays it out there, and then get over to the KABN website to do your really deep dive, and hopefully you found your next great small cap company. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. See you next time.